UU. We do our best to follow them, and we like new people to come and tell us how to follow them better. But that's our North Star as a UU congregation. Is there anything else I forgot to tell you? Well, it'll come back. See if that works, and if that doesn't, if not, I'll give you this.
What I'm going to do this?
Yeah, try that. Ring the bell. Here we go. Now hear Kitty.
Oh my goodness. Give her the mic. Hello? Can you hear me? That's not going to work. No, it's not going to work. It's a little mic stand. Good morning. Welcome to the Treasure Coast Unitarian Universalist Church. We are a welcoming congregation. We welcome people of all gender identities, ethnicities, ages, and backgrounds. This is why you come early. I come early to get ready, and then all of a sudden, poof. My name is Kitty Rowell, and I'm your worship associate today. And this is our astoundingly talented cellist, Jackie Robbins. Okay. You're on YouTube also. To be put on our email list or find out more information about us, Google TCUC to find our website. Note the email link to request our online Friday newsletter. Please silence your cell phones. That means you, John Morn. See the printed order of, visitors, if you feel comfortable, would you come up and introduce yourself here, please? We'd love to welcome you, but it's okay. See the printed order of service in the newsletter for all events and details in your bulletin. Join us this Tuesday at Poppleton Creek Park at noon for brown bag lunch. This park is down the street adjacent to the dog park. Sundays, 10 a.m. meditation gathering is led on alternating weeks by Karen Olish and Ken Texera. And he's back, and he did it today. Great. The post-election support group will be meeting after the service here in the back corner. The celebration of Phyllis Hall's life on March 2nd at 12:30 will be right after the first Sunday congregation meeting. And there is a movie that's planned, and Shari's going to tell us about it for just a minute.
Good morning. Good morning. The movie this month, the last Tuesday in the month, is Mamma Mia. I have personally seen it at least a dozen times. And I will be here, and we'll have hot buttered popcorn as well. Bring an hors d'oeuvre to share. But the movie, I'll make it quick, is so much fun. Whenever I am in a down moment, I can put that movie on, and it lifts me right up. It's just great fun. I hope you'll join us. And closed caption is available. I will learn how to do it.
Thank you, Shari. We're all on a learning curve here, I'll tell you. We will have cookies and coffee in our social hall after the service. Please go over there. A big thanks to those who helped with the service, Jackie Robbins and Sandy Craig for the music. Our greeters, David Gray, Judith Watt, Janet Grote, and our tech elf, Karina Poloni, and our tech support, Rachel Valentino, and our backup techs, Stan and Alistair Forrester. Our hospitality team is Joanne Leone, Florence Treacle, and Sherry Louise. And our Reverend Bob is in the pulpit today. And here is our prelude. Thank you, Jackie. And now we will light the chalice. We light this chalice, remembering and honoring our own tradition and celebrating the rich diversity of traditions among us. As we search for justice, meaning, and purpose, may we remember that justice, meaning, and purpose live first in deeply listening to one another. It's okay to be tired of change. It's okay to be tired of anything different. Okay to feel weary of resilience and wholeness and learning and growth. And it's okay to yearn simply for rest. It's okay to be grouchy and unsatisfied. And all the ordinary human ways of being that we are, let this morning be a reminder that you are loved. Let our time together soothe what is restless in you. May you be comforted in knowing that whatever you're feeling today and other days, you are not alone. You are never alone. Come, let us worship together. So, our first hymn is 118. Stand if you'd like to sing. Let us recite our affirmation, speaking the first verse and singing the second. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. And sing the rest if you're comfortable. All that dwell beneath the skies, let faith and hope and love arise. Let beauty, truth, and good be sung from every line, from every tongue.
The responsive reading is by Wendell Berry, number 465 in the back of the hymnal. 465, The Wisdom to Survive. If we will have the wisdom to survive, to stand like slow-growing trees on a ruined place, renewing, enriching it, if we will make our seasons welcome here, asking not too much of earth or heaven, and a long time after we are dead, the lives our lives prepare will live here. Their houses strongly placed upon the valley sides, fields and gardens rich in the windows, the river will run clear as we will never know it. And over it, bird song like a canopy. On the levels of the hills will be green meadows, stock bells in noon shade. On the steeps where greed and ignorance cut down the old forest, an old forest will stand, its rich leaf fall drifting on its roots. The veins of forgotten springs will have opened. Families will be singing in the fields. In their voices, they will hear a music risen out of the ground. They will take nothing from the ground, they will not return, whatever the grief at parting. Memory native to this valley will spread over it like a grave, and memory will grow into legend, legend into song, song into sacrament. The abundance of this place, the songs of its people and its birds, will be health and wisdom and indwelling light. This is no paradisal dream. Its hardship is its possibility. Wendell Berry. And now our times of joys and sorrows. We invite you to share yours in the hope that you will know you are heard and supported as you do. We ask that they be brief and personal, not announcements, what not. So who will come forward and tell us what's on their mind and heart?
Good morning. I'm Scott. I may need a collection of these. The joy this morning is my kid sister's birthday, a real joy in my life. I'll be talking with her shortly after the services. I just always love my contact with her. Been a tough week. Best friend had a stroke. Another friend lost his wife. Known each other 59 years. Third one's in the hospital in great pain and not making a lot of sense with all the morphine. So I ask you, keep all of them in your hearts. may need an avalanche.
Pam?
I'm Pam Corbin. I have a sorrow. My cousin, Julius Berry, was found dead in his apartment last week. He died of complications from diabetes. He had gangrene in both legs. And my message to all of you is, oh, no, you don't. You will take care of yourself. Thank you for listening.
Good morning. I am Judith, and I have, I think, a joy. Yesterday evening late, my sister Tia texted Francisco, and Deb Harris has actually arrived back in this country, back in Connecticut. And of course, we're all very anxious to see how her trip to Panama went. But I'm glad she made it because of the enormous snowstorm that has apparently socked in the Northeast. One more, and if she's home watching, which she does every morning usually, hello, Deb.
This should be a sorrow. This is the not anniversary, whatever, of when my mother died. And instead this morning I woke up with this tremendous gratitude in my heart because my mother was just lovely. She was a very kind person. She was a real good mother. She, you know, my sisters and I were in our 60s and 70s when we were growing up, so you know what we put her through. And she was always there for us. So, so it's a joy to remember her. Thank you.
Sure.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jim, and I've only been here a couple of times, but I've watched on YouTube every Sunday. So I live in upstate New York on a small little island in the middle of the Hudson River near Troy, New York, where Bob's somewhat familiar. Brenda's my wife. She's been in here in person, but it's just such a joy. The YouTube is wonderful. Thank you, Karina, for doing all you do. It's really quite a nice experience, but it's much better being here. So good to see everybody in person.
I told Karina we do more with praise than salary, but praise means a lot.
I'm Jackie. I have a small joy, which is that the first piece I played, which was the prelude to the first suite, solo cello suites of J.S. Bach. I've been looking for this for weeks, and it was over there. So it's a great joy to be reunited with my friend. And my sorrow is what's happening to the Kennedy Center, as well as many other very confusing things.
Anyone else? Sherry.
Hi, my name is Sherry. I have a joy I want to share with you. Today, this week, two very, very dear friends of ours that I hadn't seen in like 2 years are here visiting, and it is just wonderful to see them and to have them here with us.
One more coming.
Hi, I'm Nancy. I'm a visitor from upstate New York, Queensbury, north of Troy. And my joy is I finished a painting about jazz musicians this week, so that's my joy.
Good.
Hi, I'm Shari Louise. My joy is a little different. It's about do not. 10 years ago, there was a comment I said to my middle daughter to correct her from being extremely disrespectful to me for no reason. And over these past 10 years, I would be lucky if I had gotten 2 words from her. The last time I had made her child's second birthday, and then didn't see them for many, many years, and they live in Port St. Lucie. Friday, on Valentine's Day, I sent, as I do every holiday, a note, a cartoon, wishing her family a happy Valentine's Day, asking if it was all right that I could come and deliver some gifts I had for Jane, my granddaughter. She said yes. I arrived, rang the doorbell. She and her daughter came out. Understand, I've never been invited into her home in those 10 years, though I helped her find it. Greeted my granddaughter, gave her packages. She gave me a hug. Thank you, Grandma. And I said, I have missed you too so incredibly much. I love you so much. And they were heading back in because they had company. And I said, Jane, can I have one more hug? She gave me a hug. And Kelly, her mom, turned, and she came up to me and gave me a hug and said, I love you, Mom.
Good. Anyone else? All right, we'll give Tia the last word. Oh, you have one too? That's okay.
It's my joy is that it's amazing walking in here and seeing this whole room full of people. I think that's absolutely fantastic. This is the most people we've had here on a Sunday service since before COVID, so it's really wonderful. And that leads me to a very short announcement.
Where did I fail?
Which is that you'll be getting your pledge letter soon. So.
Thank you, Tia.
Yes, you're welcome.
I have 2 sorrows. One is, and y'all feel these too, the overarching grief and sorrow that's going on around the world due to some actions of people in our country, and it's devastating. The second one is, I've told you about my friend Lucia, and she had a nightmare week this week. They sent her home, then they sent her back, and I don't know what's going to happen, probably her demise pretty soon. But please think of Lucia, and she's a beautiful woman, but she's been in the hospital for 10 weeks.
And we always move one for people that we haven't said out loud. So would you just go back and move a couple more? Because we all have people in our minds and hearts that we don't say out loud, but. Okay, thank you. That's good. That's good, Kitty. The meditation written by David Eaton, A Common Destiny. All living substance, all substance of energy, being, and purpose are united and share the same destiny. All people, those we love and those we know not of, are united and share the same destiny. Birth to death, we share this unity with the sun, earth, our brothers and sisters, strangers, flowers of the field, snowflakes, volcanoes and moonbeams, birth, life, death, unknown, known, unknown. Our destiny from unknown to unknown. May we have the faith to accept this mystery and build upon its everlasting truth. David Eaton. And now moments of silence. And now, Spirit of Life, number 123. We hum it, then we sing it. Stand or sit, whichever you prefer. 123. Now, this is the time of the morning offering. I almost always say people experience welcome, generosity, and shared joy, and occasionally shared sorrow. But in order for us to continue our generosity here, we need yours. And so I know I have at least 2 volunteers this morning. I just can't remember who they are. But here they be. Thank you. We always invite you to sing along because that's our way of discovering who the singers are. And that's your way of auditioning for the choir. If you were expecting a Valentine-themed sermon, well, what's the best love advice you ever got or gave? Love the one you're with. Pay attention. Listen. Be more forgiving. Patience, for God's sakes, patience. Somebody waited 9 months for you. And there's the late UU minister, author, Forrest Church's mantra from his book, Love and Death. As he approached his fearsome 59th, the age his father, Senator Frank Church, I think of Idaho, and his grandfather died at with something congenital. He survived to 61. His mantra started off, want what you have. Want what you have. Good for relationships, not good for the economy. And of course, those words of St. Paul, whom we rarely quote, love is eternal. Love is eternal. When I was about 19 and more clueless than clueful, a prof said, eternal was about depth, not duration. How deep, not how long. About a year earlier, my Troy High School homeroom teacher, a wonderful Roman Catholic lady, who knew I was Protestant ministry bound, gave me this parting word. Remember, Bob, no souls are saved after 15 minutes. We've all heard sermons that brought eternal to mind, but not for the best reasons. When we are thinking length, how long can this go on? I think it's safe to say we aren't experiencing depth. Over the past year, we have lost here at TCUUC a lot of our history, with founding members passing away. Most recently, Phyllis Hall. For her service, our celebration of Phyllis's life, 2 weeks from today, 12:30 here. Can our choir be ready with the Hallelujah Chorus? Our Tabernacle Choir at TCUUC.
We like small ass.
At 99 3/4, hallelujah. The reality is love and death, deeply felt joy and deeply felt loss can cohabit our emotional space, and often do. So today, I feel I have to give mortality's arrows their due. Cupid's arrows got Friday. What are mortality's upsides? Let's start there. Mortality's upsides. I've got a short list, and you know I like collaborative sermons, wherein I invite you to add your thoughts. So in 5 or 10 minutes, I will invite you, one sentence, and I'll add the period if you take too long getting to it. But I'll call on you, so please raise your hand and we'll let you add to my list. Mortality's upsides. What would we accomplish in life without a deadline? What goals would we set and work toward if we had forever to get to them and accomplish them? The pressure of deadlines is invaluable. Now, a silly example comes to mind from my first Long Island Methodist position. Assistant minister in a large, once prominent church on the border of Queens and Nassau counties. My job was one sermon a month and organizing the church school program and a large youth group when I was young enough to run with them. My small office was next to the church secretary. I had Friday hours, and almost every Friday, I could hear that good lady begging my senior colleague on the intercom, please tell me your hymn numbers, your readings, your sermon title for the Sunday bulletin. Often it was Friday afternoon, and I heard things like, please, I've got to go pick up my grandchildren from school. Or please, my husband is homesick and I need to. My colleague was a great guy and a privilege to work with, unless you were the church secretary and needed to produce that Sunday bulletin before you could go home on Friday. So what would we accomplish without deadlines? Mortality encourages us to make the most of the time we have. The Romans saw and said that. Ergo, it must be true. Carpe diem. Does anything sting quite like the realization of time wasted? And if we get stuck in what if and if only. Now, that's another sermon. When is wasted time not wasted? That sounds like an op-ed I remember from 50 years ago. The encouragements of boredom. I used to ask my confirmation classes, 8th graders, what they liked most about the worship service, which they were required to attend, and what they liked least. The last list was bigger, longer. But they had to tell me that I was boring. And my colleague was when I had a colleague. And I had to tell them, you know, your mind can wander to some inspiring things. Go for it. It strikes me there is comfort and meaning in the family tree reality. The family tree reality. People did wait 9 months for us and then showered us with ooh and ah. And those who come after us, whether of our making or of our kin and friends' making, there is something humbling about what will be and what won't be remembered. The connections matter, and beyond our control are at least part of why we matter. I just finished that family book program called Storyworth. Has anybody here done that, Storyworth? Yeah. One of my daughters wanted me to do it, and so for a year, I got a question a week to respond to. I got an email yesterday telling me my answers were longer than most people's. I'll blame my profession. They also asked me to write a byline for the inside first page. I chose "The questions made life interesting." Mortality is a great equalizer. I think Martin Luther is quoted as saying something like, everyone has to die one's own death. We all have to come to terms with that. And it could make us a bit gentler with people around us, certainly with people who seem to have been dealt more than their share of health hurdles. Realizing that could even make us more encouraging, patient, and forgiving toward ourselves. It could even inspire a heart of compassion for peoples who were born with so much less. Okay, this is that moment I warned you about. I invite you to tell me what you would add to my list of the upsides. Just sing it out or shout it out from where you're seated and raise your hand and I'll call on you. Does anybody have a short addition to make to my list? Yes?
Music and community.
Say again?
Music and community.
Good. Who else? Yes, Pat, and then Shari.
Dogs.
Dogs? Shari.
Never stop learning.
Good. Janet.
Don't worry, be happy.
Good. Anyone else? Yes.
Look at art.
What?
Look at art. There.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Am I standing in the way of your taking in beautiful art? You can always come up after and look at it more closely. Anybody else have an addition? Yes, John. Are you making up for something you forgot on Friday, John? That was very good. Thank you. Anybody else? You can always tell me afterwards if you would. Did you have your hand up?
No, there's someone, people needed words repeating because they can't hear in the back.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Sorry. Yes, Tia.
A reminder of the need to savor what we have.
Want what we have. Yeah. Savor it. Yeah. Yep.
Repeat it, please.
This is savor what we have. Savor what we. The reason I don't repeat everybody's is I can't always hear everything, and I don't want to be too obvious about that. But I think I heard that. She's sitting fairly closely. Okay, learning to bob. The next time you do that, have a mic out there and tell people to take the moment. Okay, I'll close then with these thoughts. Mortality, friend or foe? If we started in Judaism or Christianity, especially Christianity, we heard a lot about religion and death. Not so much about how much death religion caused. In the John Buren's book, some of us read and discussed recently, John Buren's a well-known UU minister and author, the book, Understanding the Bible for Liberals and Progressives. He makes the point that the Jews learned about the importance of the afterlife in Egypt. The Egyptians sacrificed attendants and concubines to occupy the vaults of the pyramids and continue to see to the needs of the prominent deceased. If the Jews learned about that obsession in Egyptian religions, they didn't exactly buy it because there's little mention of afterlife in Judaism. Buren's also writes that encouragements to ethical living are what made Christianity appeal and prosper in the Roman Empire. Encouragements to ethical living. Jesus never got out of Palestine, as far as we know, but those missionary journeys of Paul did the trick. Paul writes about death as an enemy to be overcome, and Jesus' resurrection is a metaphor for death not being the end of him. And for those who believed in him and tried to put his good Jewish teachings into practice, then death was never the end of their living either. They lived for something much greater. Loving which connected his followers to the eternal and what really lasts. That became the end followers were living for. Now Lori and I went to the Leonardo da Vinci immersive in Boynton Beach this week. I think it's on for some more weeks if you're interested. There she is, Hannah Lisa. Her name is a good, familiar German name, Hannelore. She goes by Lori. She would be killing me if she knew I was showing you this. She goes by Lori because it's easier to say. And this was in the workshop following the immersive experience. Now, I couldn't put that up there and somehow make the eyes move, as they say Leonardo was able to do with the great lady who lives in the Louvre, Hannah Lisa. Some of the points emphasized in the words of Leonardo in the immersive were his affirmation and curiosity about nature, and his realization several centuries ago that diversity was nature's way. He saw patterns that suggested our last UU principle, the interconnectedness of all existence. Now you see nature's way right up there. I couldn't pass the opportunity to show you our new neighbors at Indian River Park in Jensen Beach. We checked on the parents about every other week, so this litter of Egyptian geese can't be more than 2 weeks old. There they are, the 6 little beauties between mom and dad. We just hope we keep seeing 6. They really are something to behold. So beautiful, so wondrous, so vulnerable. Mortality. Mortality becomes a difficulty, a burden, to the extent that we experience our own helplessness about someone else's vulnerability, someone we care deeply about and cannot alleviate. We have all been there. And our own helplessness in the face of our own vulnerability, someone we care deeply about and cannot alleviate. As the great philosopher Bertrand Russell says in that reading I keep reading to you because I can't improve upon it, there's so much suffering in the world we can't alleviate. We have to try. So shared suffering guaranteed. COVID reminded many that caring community, gathering with people in the park, and then back again here in the sanctuary, did what religion can do, community, not isolation. Presence is what religion offers. Jews sit at Shiva, Christians and we UUs and others bring food, all to help us go on when we need help to go on. The joke cartoon about Jimmy Carter entering the pearly gates with, "How can I help?" made a point. We can only say thank God or thank the web or just thank you. There are people like him who showed us the way, and practically as long as he was breathing, he was helping. Mortality is a mixed topic. The closer we get to hurting and loss we can't relieve, the worse it seems. Overall, it means our time, our shot to be whom we have chosen to be. And for more than one, this one, the questions have made it interesting and continue to. All right, this last hymn, 116, 5 verses. If that's not long enough, we can sing it twice, but 5 verses. I'm on my way to Freedom Land. Some of you probably know the story behind this. It really started out as On My Way to Canaan Land, sung by African American slaves when they were in slavery and could not sing freedom because that would scare the folks around them, so they sang Canaan Land, which could mean the afterlife, which is where they knew they would be free. But 100 years later, it became better to sing to Freedom Land because it meant getting freedom where they were, not waiting for death. And it meant disrupting where they were if they had to get it. And so we've all been encouraging of that and felt that with our Black Americans who are still on their way to Freedom Land. So hymn number 116, do we know it? We'll know it by the time we get to the 5th verse. 116.
I'm looking at this, and I realize just by a view that it is it's sung by one group that holds the last note, which is way, I'm on my way, and then the second group comes in and answers. So it's sort of a round. So call and response. There you go. We didn't do a whole lot of that in Hebrew school.
No pressure. Let's do the best we can.
Don't just keep reading the same thing. Someone hold the note while the other people start singing the same thing that was just sung. Okay. Did you have an intro? Did you have an intro? Okay. So we're going to give you a little intro.
Thank you, music leaders. Hey, you all did well. Do you want to sing it again? Someday. Remember, I have closing words and then our postlude, but after that, we close with food and beverage in the other room, and we hope you'll join us. Now, you all know for the past few months, the overriding theme I've had rattling in my head: remaining upbeat and seeing the way forward. So these words of Margaret Mead seemed appropriate in the back of the hymnal. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Margaret Mead.
Stay upbeat.